Dr. Nairutti Jani, Associate Professor at Florida Gulf Coast University, teaches social workers to combat human trafficking, arming them with arsenals of knowledge and information. Dr. Jani's students are manning the front lines of intervention, intercepting and redirecting victims to lives of freedom.
What is the agenda behind human trafficking?
Profit, profit, profit. There's only one agenda behind enslaving another human being, and the motive is always profit. Whether it's sex trafficking, labor trafficking, domestic servitude, right? Someone's saving money, someone's making money. There's no other reason why a human being can be objectified as heavily as trafficked victims are. So it's as I'm sure you're aware, this is the second highest profit margin industry in the world. So profit drives this. There are several industries that drive this as well. But if I had to answer in one word, it would be profit.
Have you witnessed victims of trafficking on your campus at FGCU?
I had suspected many. Are there reported cases of human trafficking in isolation, one or two? Has it happened on record? No. But it goes back to the way we define human trafficking too, right? So the current definition does not include anything that is consensual, anything which is vague, and that's the real problem. So unless and until the victim views oneself, especially on a college campus, as a victim, unless it was pure, so when we talk about force, fraud, and coercion, right? On college campuses, a lot of what you see is either coercion or fraud. You know, that there is enough support available on campuses, I think, but awareness is the missing link. So I offer trainings, workshops, talks now and then on FGCU campuses. I also teach a course on human trafficking, whereas it's train the trainers kind of course. So everybody who's taking the course has to go out and create awareness in different parts, from hotel industry to FGCU campus to everything. So so I'm hoping to get a ripple effect and create the level of awareness that, okay, these are the warning signs. If this were to happen, or if you see something like this, report it. So yes, there has been, have there been cases of suspected human trafficking cases? Yes. So, you know, we've seen other types of, sexual crimes which allude to the fact that, there's indirect measures of recruiting going on, but that every time I teach a course, I have a few who share experience and say, this happened to me, Dr. Jani, that happened to me. There is some intranet where all the students connect, and they would say, well, there's this guy who keeps sending me emails saying that there is free housing for a young and charming girl, stuff like that.
You touched on this as well, but who are those at highest risk, and does social media play a role?
Who are those at highest risk? In my opinion, the data suggests now that the age is going younger. There are two types of victims that we see most commonly. One are foreign-born victims who are brought to this country. The other one are domestic minors. For domestic minors is we have higher concentration of those here. In terms of sex trafficking, labor trafficking, we have a higher concentration of international victims. So you have to break that down first. But when I talk about domestic minors, it's typically Caucasians, even African Americans, but typically Caucasians in this area. Age range is dropping. So now they say 10 years is the starting age, right, where the recruiting takes place. We have had isolated cases of elementary school recruitment. What they look for is isolation and vacuum, and that vacuum comes from within, right? So I think the culture forces our children, and this is purely my belief, based on everything I've seen, forces children to be, you know, to look for support elsewhere than family. A lot of the times they look for peers, but again, you know, if my child goes out, I'm afraid, right? Oh, anything could happen to her. So with this whole fear culture that we live in today, that includes social media, that's a whole different thing. I think the biggest thing that traffickers look for is that vacuum, right? Whether it is to fool somebody and you know, commit a fraud, right? Whether it is coercion, you know, where we have all these Romeo Johns coming and saying, oh, you know, you're so beautiful, but who is that beautiful girl out of 3 or 4 that are walking? It's always the quiet one, it's always the shy one, it's always the one that gets less attention and wants that. So I think the big piece, you know, the big characteristic that traffickers are looking for is that vacuum, that isolation, that lack of confidence. Again, child abuse plays a big role. It doesn't matter which way you go, whether it's domestic minors in the United States or you're talking about foreign porn. There is not one victim that I've interviewed throughout my research that has said that I wasn't abused as a child. Typically,